Hi, I'm Claritha, and I want to share with you Chinese medicine's biggest tip by introducing you to the Chinese medicine microbiome. As a health practitioner, I talk to patients all the time about digestion and find myself sharing with them one principle over and over again. So that's what I wanted to share with you. This video is to help you understand the gut from a Chinese medicine perspective, and my huge tip at the end will help regulate your digestion and give you more energy. Now, understand that you can eat the best quality food, like grown on the side of the Himalayas, picked at the vernal equinox, but if your digestion is weak, you can't absorb all of the nutrients and energy it has to offer. So the benefits of having good digestion include decrease in upper GI upset, which includes acid reflux, belching, bad breath, decrease in lower GI upset, like bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, a decrease in skin irritation, which our skin is our largest organ. So if there's something going on in your gut, it's going to show up on your skin. More energy, who doesn't want that? Better sleep, proper weight, and improved fertility. So from a Chinese medicine perspective, good digestion is the cornerstone of health. It helps our body produce all of the things it needs that go on at the cellular level all the time, forever. In the West, we talk a lot about the microbiome. It was kind of like a buzzy word for a few years. And in the East, we talk about the spleen. It's all about the spleen. So I want to introduce you to the 5 elements. And the 5 elements represent the transformation that occurs in the environment. They're metaphors for describing how things interrelate and connect with each other. And our body, if nothing else, is an internal system of where everything is connected and interrelated. So the 5 elements are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Now, each of these elements is present all the time, and this is what makes up our constitution. It's kind of like our genetic makeup. And when the elements are in harmony, we experience great health. And when they're out of balance, not so much. So how the elements are interconnected looks like this. And because they're connected the way they are, it creates a great system of checks and balances, which is great because the body's amazing. And now you can see that I added element or organ systems or channels in Chinese medicine to each of the element. And so the earth element is in charge of the stomach and the spleen. So we all know the stomach takes in the food, it helps decompose it, it churns it up. And the spleen in Chinese medicine is responsible for transformation. And it's probably the most crucial element in digestion in Chinese medicine because it assimilates the food to create the qi, the blood, and the fluids we need to help our body run smoothly. So when the spleen is not running so smoothly, or it's weak or cold or just doesn't have enough energy, we start to see symptoms like these. At the qi level, they can be easily corrected. The fluid level, we need to do a little bit more to correct the imbalance, but I wanted to talk about at the fluid level and the blood level too. When the digestive system gets cold and it doesn't have enough energy and it's weak, that cold can shift to other organs. So like in the fluids here, when the cold shifts to the bladder or the large intestine, we can get diarrhea, we can get incontinence, or just a lot of frequent urination. When it gets into the blood level, we can see things like bruising easily and things with menstrual changes and fertility and reproductive issues. And a lot of people say, well, what does my digestion have to do with fertility? Well, in order to be a healthy, fertile man or woman, you need warm blood flow to your reproductive organs. And cold reproductive organs in Chinese medicine is actually one of the things that we treat for infertility. It's actually pretty common, so just food for thought. But here is the big tip, and all Chinese medicine practitioners know this, and it is that raw or uncooked food is not the best for everybody all the time. So check out my little image here. I was looking for a pot of rice on a stove, but I couldn't find one. So let's just pretend there's rice in this pot. And I like to use the analogy of rice because obviously rice in its original form is difficult to digest. It needs to be cooked and softened so we are able to absorb the energy from the food. So I want you to think as your spleen and your stomach as the body's kitchen. These guys prepare the meal for the rest of your body's energy. And I want you to think about your spleen as the flame. So the spleen is the thing that provides the energy for the transformation of the food to take place. So imagine that this flame is teeny tiny and that it's just barely visible. And then you're dumping a lot of cold, raw food, fibrous vegetables into the pot. So with barely any flame to heat it, soften it, cook it, transform it, it's going to tax your digestive system more because it's just going to take longer and more energy to get any nutrients out of it because it doesn't have enough energy to do what it's supposed to do. So food that is raw, and again by raw I mean like pulled up from the ground, uncooked, cold, needs to be partially cooked or prepared. So if your digestion is already a little lacking, or if you're having any of those symptoms that I pointed out before, eat more raw, eat more warmed food, eat more prepared food. So as you saw on the slide earlier, where all of the organ systems are involved, if your digestive system doesn't have enough energy to do what it needs to do, it'll pull from the other systems, which is kind of important if you're needing a lot of energy for something else, like you're training for a marathon, or you're trying to have a baby, or your digestive system is just out of control. So people who have pre-existing digestive issues or chronic fatigue would do well to eat little or no raw food for a while. I'm not saying you can't have a salad ever again, but just unburden your digestion by one step, and that can help a lot. So opt for cooked veggies over raw produce, hot soups, stews, casseroles, and this principle actually applies to beverages as well. So smoothies, not so much. So we just want to make sure that we do not douse your digestive fire. It's so important. So how to eat for a happy, healthy spleen includes, what we just talked about. Stir fry is great, crock pot, Instapot, and also don't eat things that make you feel bad. Common sense, but sometimes not so common. So I just wanted to drop in that reminder right here. So hopefully you started to see why the spleen is so important and how it can get easily overburdened and snuff out our digestive fire. So hopefully this will help you, and hopefully it will help your other body symptoms too. So in general, that's how eating better, eating more gentler can help increase your energy overall and just support the health of all of your entire body, your holistic self. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and please stay tuned for part 2 of my 2-part digestion video series called Happy Belly Basics.